Basketball is a sport that has undergone many changes since its inception in 1891 by James Naismith. Naismith created the game to keep athletes indoor during the winters and to provide a less injury-prone sport than football. The original game had only 13 rules, which have since evolved and modified in many ways over the past 125 years. Today's basketball rules have the same fundamental principle as Naismith intended in 1891. I'm John Alvin DG Fajardo, and I'm here to discuss some differences between Naismith original 13 rules and today's basketball rules. Here are some of the differences. The first rule, according to Dr. James Naismith basketball rules, is that the ball may be thrown in any direction with one or both hands. This rule still applies today. Players are allowed to pass the ball to their teammates in any direction using one or both hands. This rule has remained unchanged since the inception of the game. The ball can also be passed using overhead passes, chest passes, bounce passes, and other types of passes. The objective of this rule is to allow players to move the ball around the court and create scoring opportunities for their team. The rule also helps to keep the game fast-paced and exciting for the players and fans. The ability to pass the ball in any direction with one or both hands is a fundamental skill that every basketball player must master to be successful in the game. Second rule, the ball may be batted in any direction with one or both hands, but never with the fist. This rule still applies today. On defense, a player can hit the ball in any direction, and on the offensive end, in loose ball situation, the player can bat the ball to the other team member. Only the fists and feet can be used to deflect the ball. This rule has not changed and it is still legal in today's game. However, there has been a slight change in this rule as dribbling with both hands at the same time is no longer allowed. It is called second dribble. It is also still not allowed to touch the ball with your face, but this is only a violation like traveling and not a foul. Striking the ball with a clenched fist is also a violation of rules 3 and 4 and rule number 5. No player can strike the ball with a fist as it will be considered a violation of the game. Third rule, a player cannot run with the ball. The player must throw it from the spot on which he catches it, allowing the man in motion to catch it only while standing still. However, this rule has changed and players are now allowed to dribble the ball while running. Dribbling is an essential part of the game, and players are allowed to dribble the ball while running. The dribble is defined as the continuous passage of the ball, making the double dribble illegal. Players can use their feet to move around the court, but they cannot kick the ball or use their legs to control the ball. The use of hand is still an integral part of the game, and players are allowed to hold the ball in their hands. However, the use of arms to keep the defender from stealing the ball is forbidden, and it falls into a troubling violation. This change has made the game faster and more exciting for players and fans alike. One of the 13 rules of basketball by James Naismith was the ball must be held in or between the hands, and the arms or body must not be used for holding it. This, rules, this rule was integral to the way the sport was played in the early days of basketball. Players were not allowed to use their arms or body to hold the ball and they had to hold the ball in their hands. The objective of this rule was to keep the game fast-paced and exciting for the players and the fans. This rule no longer applies today, as players are allowed to use their body to shield the ball from the defender. However, players are still not allowed to hold or touch the ball with their feet or legs, and doing so would be a violation like traveling. The use of arms to keep the defender from stealing the ball is forbidden, and it falls in the traveling violation. In conclusion, the rule that the ball must be held in or between the hands and the arms or body must not be used for holding it was an essential part of the early days of basketball. Although this rule no longer applies today, it has helped to shape the way the game is played today. Next rule is no shouldering, holding, pushing, striking, or tripping in any way of an opponent is allowed. The first infringement of this rule by any person shall count as a foul. The second shall disqualify him until the next goal is made, or if there was an attempt to make a goal until the next foul is made. This rule was created to ensure that players played the game in a fair and sportsmanlike manner. The objective of this rule was to prevent players from injuring each other and to keep the game safe for everyone. Rule number 6. A foul is striking at the ball with a fist, violation of rules 3, 4, and such as described in rule number 5. This rule still applies today. If a player violates this rule, the other team will receive the ball and the player who committed the violation will be penalized. If either side makes 3 consecutive fouls, it shall count as a goal for the opponent. Consecutive means without the opponent in the meantime making a foul. In the current rule, instead of an automatic goal, sufficient team fouls now award bonus free throw attempts to the opposing team. Rule number 8. A goal shall be made when the ball is thrown or batted from the grounds into the basket and stay there without falling, providing those defending the goal do not touch or disturb the goal. If the ball rests on the edges and the opponent moves the basket, it shall count as a goal. This rule still applies today and it is one of the fundamental principles of the game. The objective of this rule is to score points by throwing or batting the ball into the basket and to prevent the defenders from touching or disturbing the goal. If the ball rests on the edges of the basket and the opponent moves the basket, it shall counted as a goal. This rule is still placed today and it is one of the most important rules of the game. Rule number 9. When the ball goes out of bounds, it shall be thrown into the field of play by the person first touching it. In case of dispute, the umpire shall throw it straight into the field. The thrower in is allowed 5 seconds. If he holds it longer, it shall go to the opponent. If any side persists in delaying the game, the umpire shall call a foul on that side. On the current rule, the ball is now thrown in a player from the In the current rule, the ball is now thrown in by the player from the opposite team of the player who last touched it before it went out of bounds. The 5-second rule is still applies. Rule number 10. The umpire shall be the judge of the men and shall note the fouls and notify the referee when the 3 consecutive fouls have been made. He shall have power to disqualify men according to rule number 5. This rule has changed and the umpire is known as the official scorer today. The said rule is an old basketball rule that has since changed. The umpire is now known as the official scorer, whose main responsibility is to keep track of the score of the game and keep in contact with an on-court referees to record fouls, assists, and other statistics. The official scorer sits at the half-court line on the sideline and has a small console that can add points, fouls, and timeouts at the press of a button. In most cases, this console is connected wirelessly to the scoreboard so players and fans can see the score of the game. The official scorer's other responsibility include recording the number of every players participating in the game, keeping track of substitution, keeping track of fouls, and alerting a referee if a player reaches 6 personal fouls. The referee shall be the judge of the ball and shall decide when the ball is in play, inbounds, to which side it belongs, and shall keep the time. He shall decide when a goal has been made and keep account of the goals with any other duties that are usually performed by a referee. In the current rule, the referee shall still determines ball possession, but timekeepers and scorekeepers now do some of these tasks. Rule number 12. The time shall be 2 sets of 15-minute halves with 5-minute rest between. These rules has changed and the length of the game varies depending on the level of the play. In the NBA, there are 4 quarters each, 12 minutes long, and 15-minute half break time. Rule number 13. The side making the most goals in the time shall be declared the winner. In the case of the draw, The game may, by agreement of the captains, be continued until the goal is made. On the current rule, the winner is now decided by points, which does not equate goals made. In the NBA, 5-minute overtime periods are played in case of a tie at the end of the fourth quarter, with the point total at the end determining the winner. If still tied, teams play another overtime period.